How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Liberty Bowl. So, old Grandpa Biddens, right? Old fucking dementia-riddled fucking Biddens, once again is trying to drain our strategic oil reserves in order to boost up his voter status, right? We also got Winnie the Pooh declares himself a dictator at last. And we also have some libtards from Arizona attempting to go Project Veritas style. So, before we get into that, you guys, let's get into this. Here we go.
Well, let me run it down to you, communist, homosexual, faggot, dipshit, motherfucker. Fuck you, that's why. 'Cause fuck you, that's why. 'Cause helmets suck, that's why. And commies like you swallow, that's why. Fuck Pete Wilson, that's why. Fuck Dick Floyd, that's why.
All right, so let's go ahead and get started here, right? So, Biden to announce release of up to 15 million barrels of oil from Strategic Petroleum Reserve, right? So he's at it again, right? And the reason he's doing this is obviously because midterms are just around the corner and his economy is in shambles. The people know it, the people see it, the people feel it, and clearly this is the main issue that people are focusing on this election, right? So he is going to go ahead and try and save some of these votes for the Democratic people by trying to, again, lower a little bit of the gas price just slightly right before the midterms come, right? All right, so President Biden will announce on Wednesday that he is releasing 15 million more barrels of fuel from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, a move aimed at easing gas prices 3 weeks before voters anxious over rising costs head to the polls as Democrats have been battered by GOP attacks on the economy. All right, so this also comes just after, what was it, about a week ago or something like that, that it was just announced that OPEC is going to be cutting down oil production by about 2 million barrels a day, right? So again, this is going to result in rising gas prices. We recently just saw the other day that Biden was actually caught trying to pull another quid pro quo with the Saudis and trying to get them to just continue pumping and not announce that they are going to be cutting their oil production for about another month. Obviously, again, trying to save some votes for the Democratic Party at the midterms, right? It's becoming pretty apparent now that they're clearly going to lose the House. It's looking by maybe a large margin. More than likely, they're also going to be losing the Senate. I mean, of course, the polls still aren't quite showing it yet, but then again, the polls can be wrong. So I am going to, of course, fingers crossed and hold hope that maybe we catch, not only the House, but the Senate as well. So, of course, Biden is trying to fight back against this. All right, so back to the whole quid pro quo thing, right? So what he was trying to threaten was cutting off their weapons sales, or our sales of weapons to the Saudis, right? So clearly, the Saudis do not like Biden. I mean, there was that fiasco, a little while back where he tried calling to try and again rally them to pump some more oil, and they missed the call. They let it go to voicemail, right? So clearly, nobody in the fucking world likes Biden, and he is again going after our strategic oil reserves, which are supposed to be used in case of emergencies, war times, things like that. Say we're getting invaded, say an ally is getting invaded, that way we have those strategic reserves to be able to get us through whatever we need to get through until we're able to, replenish these reserves. But if we don't have these, and clearly we are in a very shaky geopolitical stage right now, things are looking pretty bleak all over the world. As you can tell, the more you try and talk peace in Ukraine, the more the Democrats are going to say that you're a Nazi and blah blah blah, right? Clearly they're warmongers. I mean, they've completely lost their mind. They completely lost fucking all grips on their party, and now they're just trying to save face, right? So by Biden draining our strategic oil reserves, it puts us in a vulnerable position for the next story that I'm about to get to, and that is China. So, as Joe Biden is working feverishly to drain our strategic oil reserves, Xi Jinping, aka Winnie the Pooh, is over in China, basically declaring himself a dictator, right? So about 4 years ago, he went ahead and abolished term limits over in China, and just the other day, they held their Chinese Communist Party Congress, which I believe takes place once every 5 years, something like that. And essentially, Xi Jinping announced that, he's going ahead and taking on an unprecedented third term limit, right? So this will be 15 years of Xi Jinping in power. So essentially, he's declared himself a dictator at this point, right? So other things that have come from from that is he essentially announced that there's going to be zero change to their draconian COVID policy, their zero COVID policy, and he basically calls it a public war to protect health, right? As we know, COVID, it's I'm not even going to comment on it. Fuck you, YouTube. All right. So anyway, he is continuing with these draconian lockdowns, these extreme testing, basically monitoring where people are at 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and basically having complete and total totalitarian dictatorship rule over every single person in China's life, right? They also recently announced that Hong Kong is completely underneath their rule now, and so also from this meeting came this clip right here, showing a rare glimpse of dissent in China. All right, go ahead and check it out.
If anyone here disagreed, they'd never dare show it. But there was a rare glimpse of dissent on a Beijing highway overpass last week. A banner that read, "We want food, not COVID tests. We want freedom, not lockdowns." It was, of course, removed in a hurry, and the photos scrubbed from Chinese social media, but the resentment is real.
Right? We want food, not COVID tests. We want freedom, not lockdowns. I mean, right? Could not have said it better myself. I mean, that perfectly describes basically how any of us would be feeling if we were living in communist China right now, right? So Winnie the Pooh is also planning to elevate China's military to a world-class status by 2027. So within about 5 years, he is planning to elevate themselves to world-class status, boasting about 2 million actual soldiers, whereas I believe America is about 1 million right now or some shit like that. Yeah, so basically they're going to be larger than we are, and this is all going toward them trying to annex Taiwan as soon as possible, right? I've said it before, I'll say it again. Taiwan is a pretty important, at least strategic ally for the United States, at least in the, manufacturing department, right? So Taiwan, next to China, they're probably the next biggest, producer of superconductors, which is what we need, for microchips, computers, technology, things like that. It pretty much, makes the world run. So as we're seeing with, things like Russia, the world isn't really so much based off of who can crunch the numbers best, who has the best central banking systems no more, who runs the Federal Reserve, who has the world reserve currency, things like that. Basically, the whole paper money, the fiat currency game, it's becoming antiquated. Basically, the U.S. dollar has been inflated so much to the point that there's really nothing there. It has very little value anymore, right? We are learning what has much value is things like oil, things like semiconductors, right? Commodities. So basically they are, kind of getting a bit of a stranglehold on this whole, commodities based, world economy, right? So again, Taiwan, pretty important to keep them to keep them independent of China, right? To keep them pretty allied with us. I believe, it goes without saying, we do not want China to have a monopoly on the semiconductor field, right? So, that being said, China, pretty crazy shit, man. Fucking, like I said, Winnie the Pooh, straight up fucking dictator nowadays. All bad shit, right? Alrighty, so I appreciate you guys stopping by. So this last story is basically some lefties tried to go all Project Veritas style here in Arizona, and it didn't really go very well, right? So they went after David Schweikert. He's a representative here, in Arizona, and he's part of the Freedom Caucus. Basically, they went after him. They tried to, Project Veritas style him undercover, hidden camera, get him to say some shit, and essentially what he says perfectly. Fucking basically just lays out the whole fucking MAGA plan, right? Draining the swamp, fucking, not defunding the FBI, disbanding the fucking FBI, right? And basically says everything that we fucking want to hear. So essentially it completely backfired on him. Like I said, it's some libtards trying to pull some Project Veritas shit, but go ahead and check out the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video out. I appreciate you guys. Like, subscribe, share, enjoy this video. Fuck off.
As a matter of fact,
they don't want us to really talk, but I did want to ask you one question. So my husband, his brother-in-law, was up at the Capitol on January 6th, and all these things they're doing to these freedom fighters that are like in the jail in D.C. I think it's terrible, and I'm just hoping that you guys are going to fight for them to get pardons.
We need to win the White House.
So that can happen, that we can pardon.
If we have the White House, we can do that, but not till we win the White House.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you so much for everything you're doing.
The FBI and the the number one thing to do is, and this is actually why you want Jim Jordan on oversight, is every one of those documents from the FBI goes to his committee.
We can hold them accountable.
We can expose it to the public what's really going on.
Are we going to be able to defund the FBI?
You don't want to defund them, you want to break them up. It's different. You want to be able to ship out anyone that's political, because you're not going to be able to defund them.
But you can defund the witch hunts, the investigations.
Exactly. You defund the liners, or you restrict how they spend their money.
Can you impeach Chris Ray? Can you get him?
Sure.
Can you get him gone?
Sure.
Yeah, so I am pro-life.
Actually, I have a couple other ones I want to impeach first. Mayorkas, the border.
He's going to try to paint horns and a tail on me. You've seen the commercials.
Chris Ray's like number 3 for me.
So Mayorkas and then who?
The Secretary of State.
He's an ultra-mega extremist.
Yeah, because if you see what they're doing with this government, is we're propping up communist socialist governments around the world and taking away American values around the world. So
he's the extremist in this discussion. So I'm
what will be tough is we'll never get 2/3 votes in the Senate, but it only takes a simple majority in the House to start the process.
Thanks so much for taking the time. You're doing the Lord's work, you really are.
But for me,
I just sometimes think the Lord has a sense of humor and he's screwing with us.
I gotta think that every day.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, bitch.